I said I just forgot to take out my brownie from the oven. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Helen. Next on our agenda is Marcy Field, and Marcy will be the Toastmaster for the day. Marcy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Hello, Toastmasters and honored guests. Very excited about today's meeting. Lord of the Rings is an epic for me. I loved reading the books, The Hobbits. I was entrenched in it, and I was so thrilled when the movies came out. And I remember holding it, and we were just entranced. In fact, one of the movies we saw watching from the front row of the movie theater because I had to watch it on New Year's Day with the family, which was tradition back then. And they all go together for me because it's one big story. One doesn't fit in front of the other. I have the honor of being your Toastmaster today, hoping to keep this meeting online. As we are a little bit behind now already in our timing, I invite our Table Topics Master, Amanda Price, to come forward. And Amanda, we will have time for only 2 Table Topics speakers.
Excellent. Thank you, Marcy. So the Table Topics portion of the meeting is the time when you can practice your impromptu speaking skills. I have an interesting activity planned for today. The way that it's going to work is I'm going to start you off with the beginning of a story, and then each table topic speaker has to progress the story from where I finished. And then, so the second speaker will progress from the first speaker's story and so on. So, first I'd like to get a volunteer before I give you your beginning piece. Do I have a volunteer?
I can try that.
Was that Gilberto?
Yeah, long time without doing one, but I can try.
Okay, so the story begins. Once upon a time, you were a hobbit living in a quiet and peaceful hole in the ground. You are startled awake one night by a mysterious sound. You step out your front door, if you will, to check it out. And all of a sudden, ... All
of a sudden, I got curious about, okay, what that could be. And eventually, I got a little bit nervous about that sound because I didn't recognize that sound. So I got my bat that I have under my bed, just in case. It's kind of an old-fashioned way to get defended, but yeah, so I got it. But then I realized, oh, you know what? That probably could be the wind, or it just could be an animal or something. So let's try and see what might be out there. I was a little bit scared, but I got courage, and then, okay, I'm gonna go and see what's going on. I opened the door, walk pretty slow, and it was pretty careful. And when I went to the end of the hole, I saw, oh, it's just the wind. There's nothing else. So I realized that sometimes we create our own fears in our mind, and we create our own reality depending on what we have in our minds. And at that time, I was better by challenging my fears. And I realized the only way to deal with that is just confronting them. Thank you.
Thank you, Gilberto. So who would like to take on the next part of the story? You have investigated a little bit, you've faced your fears, and you discovered that what you thought was a scary sound was actually just the wind. Where do you go from here? I'm going to call on Shelley. She's our champion, so.
Caught me snoozing there. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm happy to take on this challenge. One has confronted their fears and realizing that that's the way to move forward into the future. Having said that, one has to consider, what are one's fears? What would be the ranking of the fears that you have that you could confront? Speaking for myself personally, some of my fears are found in the smallest of places. I could walk out happily into the grandeur of an Alberta skyline, of a prairie Manitoba landscape, but if there was a mouse that ran across my path, I would jump so high I would have to go to a hospital. So that's one of my fears that I would try and get over. Another fear that I would have would be skydiving or jumping from bungee cord jumping. But I have to tell you, none of these fears would make me want to address them and get over them. It's sometimes a question of living with them. So even though people would explain to me, oh, a mouse is smaller than you, and they're more afraid of you than you are of it. First of all, I doubt that. But second of all, what I would say to you is you have to pick your battles. In life, there are some things you do want to learn to conquer. And in life, there are some things you're going to just accept that that's the way it's going to be. So starting from your story, I can tell you, I will choose the places that I will be brave. I will choose what I will confront, and I will conquer those fears. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shelley. And just in conclusion, I guess we can say that hobbits, although they are small, they are mighty. And now I will pass the stage back to Marcy Field, our Toastmaster. You're muted, my dear.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, and to our volunteers for speaking up and explaining the story. The fears. Look at how everyone faced their fears in Lord of the Rings. We now go on to the formal session of our meeting, and we have our two prepared speeches. The first speech is being done by Tanis. And I'm really looking forward to this speech. With Tanis's evaluator, I didn't hear that. Please provide the background and outline for her speech.
Tanis's speech is an icebreaker as part of her Pathway team collaboration. The purpose of her speech is to deliver a speech on any topic as an introduction to the club using any style that appeals. And her speech timing today is 4 to 6 minutes. Green will show at 4 minutes, yellow will show at 5, and red at 6 minutes.
I now, Tanis, T-A-N-I-C-E. T-A-N-I-C-E, Tanis.
Thankful, attentive, independent, creative, and eager. These combined together formulate yours truly. You may have these traits are organized in a similar fashion as acronyms, perhaps, which is how I plan on introducing myself to you all today. We'll go over each letter in my name with their definitions and examples behind them. First, begin with T, thankful. My whole life consists of positive support systems that I'm really grateful for having. My parents and 2 siblings are the first that come to mind, as they continue to play an important part in my life, even after moving out 5 years ago with my older brother. Be it that they help me out with shopping at Costco, providing emotional support when I'm struggling, occasionally spoiling us with their delicious home-cooked meals. Trust me, they're really good. Or just following up via text, phone, or video chat. They're always making themselves less. Sure, we have our fair share of disagreements, but would I ever change them for anyone else? Never. Next, we have A for attentive. This trait varies depending on what my commitments and priorities are at the time. But when I am serious about a given task, I take it slow and steady. This currently applies to my readings in school at Bow Valley College. I have the tendency to reread a sentence in my 2 or 3 times over if the first round did not stick with me. This process also applies to my written assignments, which is so much fun when you have 6 pages to proofread over and over before submitting it. Sarcasm aside, the reason I do these tasks as slowly as I do is to be certain I do not have to repeat the process over again. 1 round, it's done, I'm happy, move along. Our third letter is N for nurturing. I always try to focus on the positive sides of everything and I've come to learn about, such as children. Aside from just having a huge soft spot for them, my ELCC program at my school covers quite a few reasons why children become who they are. Were they raised within a positive, caring environment, or did they live among a dismissive and cruel guardian throughout their childhood? It's this knowledge I gain from my family and these classes that encourages me to be sympathetic, understanding, and simply have respect for where they are coming from. I also am a huge animal lover, which I personally believe some of these lessons can be useful in knowing how to effectively care for them all the same. Hold that thought there. Our fourth letter is I for years old when I started to take things into my own hands. And I remember this vividly. My mother would come into my room with a clean set of bed sheets, make the bed for me, complete her motherly duties, then leave the room. I analyzed the result of her bed making. She did a fine job, nothing was wrong with it. But how she tucked in my bed sheets didn't look tidy enough to me. I wanted it to be done in a certain way, a way 4-year-old me believed to be neater. So I did the whole thing. Moving forward, I had the motivation to be as independent in other avenues in my life as much as I could, except for the times when I needed some help. Our fifth letter is C for creative. I have always loved to draw and craft since I was a child and still try to do that when time and opportunity presents itself. Like last year, I received a rare opportunity to utilize my creative skills within Toastmasters, the Animated Pathways PR project. Christina Cruz, my longtime mentor, motivated me to use my art skills to create a stop-motion movie to advertise Pathways. If you are curious about seeing that video, unless you already have seen it, either Christina or I can share that file after today's meeting. I don't have time today at this point. Our last letter is E for eager. Completing my ELCC certificate program, moving forward within my Pathways journey, completing more creative projects, and my latest to learn more American Sign Language. I'm eager to learn and complete all of these goals I have set forth for myself. Though not all at once, but in due time. My goals, desires, they shall be done. Now you all know who I am. I am thankful. I am attentive. I am nurturing. I am independent. I am creative. And I am eager. My name is Tanis, and I look forward in completing my Pathways journey alongside the rest of you. Now.
Congratulations on your icebreaker, Tanis. It was marvelous. I am excited to see you progressing on a pathway now and to have the opportunity to hear your prepared speeches, because I know you pay attention. Madam Miss Timekeeper, Master Timekeeper, could you give us 1 minute, please? And would you please fill any comments regarding Tanis's speech and send it to her in the chat, or perhaps in is by Masood? I would ask Christina Cruz.
Thank you, Marcy.
Go ahead. Thanks.
It is with great pleasure that I am the evaluator today for Masood's speech. He is working on the speech Connect with Your Audience, and he will be completing the practice the skills needed to connect with the audience that is unfamiliar. The member presents a topic that is new or unfamiliar to the club members, and we are to take note of the member's ability to present the unusual topic that keeps the audience engaged. Best of luck, Masood.
Masood Shahanagi, 9 Principles of Harmony. 9 Principles of Harmony, Masood Shahanagi.
Thank you very much. Bob, before we start, may I ask everybody to turn on your videos? I would like to see your smiley faces. Here we go. For this moment, please bring your conscious to your body. Acknowledge that body has weight and body breathes. Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, congratulations, you just practiced or attempted to practice living in the moment and connecting your mind and your body. Prima makes it as simple as this. In today's meeting, I can extend. Okay. Today, my objective is to share with you my approach toward my professional development. Therefore, I will be my own guinea pig in this journey, and I would like through this approach to create the following. I would like to create a realistic expectation, a steady approach toward my goals and achieving them, create a commitment to this approach, and also, which is based on my core, of course, and also creating the support, mutual support. Since Prima has been very instrumental in my personal life, I decided to adopt it as a foundation toward my professional development as well. You see that I have highlighted 4 principles that I'm going to talk about today, just to respect my time frame in this presentation. Trust me, when I start talking about this, it's really hard to shut me up. So, Another thing that I need to say that Prima is suggesting that these principles do not have any sequence and do not have any priority one over the other. They're suggesting to look at it as a whole and in a way of, I would say, hologenic type of approach to it. You will see the format that I'm presenting is that I will list the principle, and underneath that I will tell you about the original excerpt of Prima. On the left side, you see my personal effects that I will not talk about it because that's not my focus. I just listed it for the transparency purpose. What I will talk about is the professional effects. Body comfortable, we just practiced that, and through that body breathes and body has weight. By the way, when we are talking about body in Prima, body includes the physical body, the mind, and the feeling. So this body comfortable can create a realistic expectation for me. In any endeavor that I'm taking, any position, any career, any profession, what is my capability, my physical capability? Where is my mindset? What is my goal of doing that? And emotionally, how do I attach myself to this profession or any endeavor? If things go upward or downward, downward or sideways, how do I emotionally act or react to it? Our movements and activities are in harmony with natural flow of life. I love this principle, no hurry, no pause. This creates a steady approach. Through this approach, I would like to look at where I am and where I want to be. And what is the time frame that I want to go from this point to the other? That allows me to calculate a steady space. In Toastmaster International, in fact, you see that their approach is to complete your projects, you can follow your own pace. So you define that. Full participation, the most natural way of moving and living is with full participation. Isn't that the truth? We cannot, without full participating in our lives, we are just existing. We are not living. This principle creates a commitment toward our life and toward our professions. So what I would like to see is what is my current participation and what is my goal? And then I will decide about my future participation. In my opinion, in everyone, the core energy, which I talked about it in my previous speech, defines the level of their participation. When we are giving support, mutual support takes place because we are receiving support simultaneously. I'll give you an example. I'll just explain this by an example. If we are supporting in our Toastmasters Club, one of our members reach a level, we are simultaneously receiving that support back to our club that we can take our club to the next level, which is the President Distinguished level. And Toastmaster International have a great tool, which is called Mentoring Program. At the end, I have a question for you. How did you find this approach? If you're interested, ask for details from me and go to brima.com and look at their 9 principles. But do not take my word or their word. Just apply and take your own taste and put your signature on it. Then apply it to your life because that would be your own instead of others. But if you're not interested, just identify your own approach and create your own model. Define it and create it, develop it, and come and present it. I love to hear that. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Masood, for continuing your teaching and bringing us forward with this and introducing to us ways that we can be more present and go forward. Master Timekeeper, if you could give us 30 seconds, I would appreciate it. And completing the evaluation forms, and then we will move into the next phase of the meeting. Waiting our speeches. This is an important part that Dr. Smedley, our founder, said, that providing a speech without receiving feedback, you were only getting half of the benefits. Now, if I could get you, Bob, if you could provide us with the timing for the two people in table topics and then for both of our formal speeches, please.
Absolutely. For table topics, Gilberto, sorry, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, Gilberto, it was 2 minutes, and Shelley was 1 minute and 40 seconds. For the formal speeches, Tanis was 6 minutes and 30 seconds, and Masood was 6 minutes and 56 seconds.
Thank you very much. I would now like to call on Irma to provide our table topics evaluation. And if you could shorten it a bit, that would be great. Thank you.
Madam Toastmaster, and our Toastmasters, and any guests, if we have guests here today, the role of the table topics evaluator is to look at how the impromptu speaking went and if people actually listened to what the table topics master wanted. I will start with Gilberto. You were not quite sure how you were going to go, and as you started talking, your mind started spinning, and I could see, and that is when you continued with your speech. I love that you took it to what went through your mind before you stepped outside that door, because the fear that is grabbing hold of you and you grab the bat. What I would suggest, though, is that you could have shown you grabbed the bat or the bat, use your gestures more. I felt that the video you were quite at the bottom of the screen, so perhaps tilt your laptop a little bit more that we can see where you could use your gestures. I enjoyed that we have our own reality inside our minds, and that is what we have to deal with and confront. Good job, Gilberto. Shelley, you had to continue from stepping outside of your house, your little hobbit house, and you went on with it, explaining to us how do you rank your fears from low side to high side. I never thought of it that way. Good job. Your smile, as always, brought us in. You did use some gestures. I felt you could have used more gestures, especially since we are in Zoom, but we are Toastmasters. So we tend to talk with our voices, our expressions in our faces, our hands. We use everything to captivate the audiences. The mouse. Yes, I can relate. I do not like mice at all. I would probably beat you. You ended with, we choose our fears that we want to confront. And I think it takes great courage for all of us to do so. All in all, both of you, good job, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Irma. Very meaningful feedback with regards to our table topics. I now would like to invite Leah to provide her evaluation of Tanis's speech.
Thank you, Marcy. Tanis, I thought that was a really wonderful speech. I think it was the first time I've actually seen one of your speeches, and I was wowed. The way you structured your speech and everything was very creative. So I'm going to try something new. I'm going with the acronym GREAT, and I'll go through each letter and talk about all the things I love. So the first is G for gestures. Your gestures were very clear. You used all of your camera space and everything was really fitting. I thought it flowed and was very natural. Next letter is R for refreshing. I love that you used a physical piece of paper and you brought them out one by one with each word in the acronym. I thought that was very refreshing compared to what I've been used to. I've been feeling a little fatigued with people sharing PowerPoints and everything. Though they're useful, it just was very engaging and refreshing right away. The next letter is engaging. I felt like you pulled me in, and I think the rest of the audience right away when you started, even just with your title, TAN ICE. It just grabbed us all in, and it was awesome. Next letter, ASL for American Sign Language. I don't know if you saw everyone else's faces when you started signing, but people were shocked, and I thought it was really cool that you brought that in and did ASL. I don't know what S is, but it was great. And I really look forward to hearing and seeing more of that in your speeches in the future. And lastly is T for tone. You were very clear. On my side, there were a little cutoffs here and there, but I was able to pick up exactly where you left off because of the tone and pace that you gave your whole speech. So great job on that. I only have one suggestion because I was trying really hard to think of one, and that is maybe next time stand up. Your camera was so clear and you had really great contrast just in the camera resolution. So it'd be awesome to see you stand up and maybe see more of your hand gestures and see you move around in your space a little more. But other than that, I have always found you to be such an unrelenting Toastmaster, and I've always been so inspired by you. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. As we press forward in unrelenting style, I now invite Christina Cruz to her introduction of Masood's speech.
Thank you so much, Marcy. And thank you, Masood. Talk about an unusual topic. I had not heard of BRIMA before, and I think I have to look into it. I think you did a great job to keep drawing us back in. You had some really strong points. Your voice is very strong. You had a beautiful, easy to follow organization throughout your speech in the way that you gave us the 4 points, and then you went into each of the body, no hurry, full participation, and mutual support. And your slides supported that. They were very clear, and I like the contrast. You did a super job at bringing relevant examples. So if this was an audience that didn't understand BRIMA, you gave them examples like the go at your own pace for pathways, or we have a mentor-mentee program within. So it was really relevant when you were giving us your points, and then you could apply that to our Toastmaster program. And I do appreciate your call to action at the end, where you gave us an option if you're interested or not interested, but it was very clear that there was something for us to do at the end of this. If there was something for you to work on, I think your voice is very clear. You started brilliantly with pauses and you were super calm, but allow your enthusiasm, which I could tell was there because you said, oh, I love this part. Oh, you'll never stop me talking about this. Exaggerate your enthusiasm in your voice so that we can catch that. So it just brings you to a bigger variation within rather than always being across the middle. I think your comfort level is really natural on camera. And like Leah said, I wonder if we should challenge each other more to stand up. So I saw this and your head, I think you did a great job with your camera angle. You were looking at the camera, but we didn't get to see much of your hands or any other gestures. So maybe in the future, challenge yourself to give us a bit more of your body. You were talking about parts of body as well. So I think that might be something to work for in the future. But I do appreciate you bringing us something new, and you definitely were able to keep the audience's attention. Thank you, Masood.
Thank you so much, Christina. I really appreciated how Masood made it relevant to us in our Toastmasters world. I now would like to welcome our general evaluator, Lisa Branch.
Hi, everyone. I apologize in advance if you can hear my printer. I printed something an hour ago and it's just deciding to work now. Hopefully that doesn't come through. The role of the general evaluator is to provide feedback on everybody who has not yet received feedback. And I have to say, I'm really excited by this meeting. I'm actually going to do my evaluation a little bit different. I'm going to jump to the evaluators first because evaluators need to have some feedback too, and then I'll go back through as time permits for the other roles. One of the things that I had written down, and I have to say, Leah and Christina, I wrote some things down that I was like, oh, this would be awesome if they did this. Like I wrote down, Tanis used an acronym. Wouldn't it be great if her evaluator used an acronym? And she did. Okay, that was awesome. That was great. Literally, I loved all the words that you used. You found something that she can work on, right? A suggestion, and you ended with something again encouraging. The fact that she inspires you, like what amazing, encouraging, supportive words to hear from an evaluator. I love how it was that love sandwich with positive, a little bit something to work on, and positive. Christina, you did the same thing, right? You were very specific, you were encouraging, relevant, you showed how his examples would really come through. And I love the suggestion that you gave to Masood, that of showing more of that enthusiasm and such. One of the things for you that, especially with this speech that I had written down too, is talking to the purpose of the speech. So in this speech, it was to connect with the audience. And I actually had, like, I love the speech, Masood, don't get me wrong there, but I found it was informative. And so as soon as you start teaching, your purpose isn't, you're not necessarily storytelling or trying to get that interaction with the audience. So a suggestion that I have was, for example, you talked about participation and you said, isn't that the truth? And I thought, oh, there's an opportunity to get some, hey, everybody, isn't that the truth? Like, let's all raise our hands, right? So that you could work on the purpose of your speech while still picking the content, which is one of your passions. So that's something that perhaps our evaluator could have spoken to a little bit more of the purpose of the speech. But again, everybody was so supportive and encouraging. I absolutely loved it. Timer, how much time do I have left for the rest of my, what have we got? I should still have another minute.
About a minute and 15 seconds.
Awesome. Okay. I wanted to say that I loved how we started on time. And I love, Stephen, I love how, is he still on? Yes, he's still on, of course. I loved how you shared a personal story. My suggestion though is it took 6 minutes. Okay, so just to keep that HSC topic short and sweet and see if you can fit in that personal story someplace else, maybe volunteer for table topics or something like that. Because then that kind of pushed us a little bit. And Marcy, great thing that you did as a Toastmaster. You recognized we were running a little bit on time. You right away told the table topics master, only time for 2. Like that's the way we run a really quick and efficient meeting. And I love how we were all working together. We're checking in with the timer. We're looking at the agenda. Really, really well done. Amanda, I really wanted to comment on the table topics. I love the idea of a story progression. Like that is just so unique. I don't know that we've ever done that before. And the idea of getting us to tell a story rather than share a personal opinion, I thought it was really effective. And you know what? You showed that you were listening and you gave a summary, right? So that the next person, like when Shelley spoke, she kind of picked up on your summary and was able to speak to that. So even though she didn't continue the storyline per se, it still worked really well. And I love how you just let it flow. So that's my main comments. If I have anything else for other people, I'll put it in the chat. But I wanted to make sure we had time to hear from our grammarian, who is Helen today. Helen, can you give us a summary of some of the things we've been doing well or some of the things we can improve on for our grammar?
This role is helping all the speakers improve the grammar and vocabulary and noticing important incompleted sentence, mispronunciation, grammatical mistake, even non-sequitur or malapropisms. So, by taking this role, it also helped me to improve my critical listening and evaluation skills. So today I recognize the first part, some of us are telling the stories. So when we told the story, please keep in mind, use the past tense. I know you may know this rule, but when you speak, you may didn't indicate what the proper verb you use. Another thing I learned is fear can be used as a plural. So when we talk fear, we can tell as fears. That's all I learned from today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Helen. Our all capture today is Leah. Do we have a summary for our word of the day use and our ums and ahs?
I'm going to be honest and tell you that I dropped the ball with counting the ums and ahs until halfway through the meeting. So we had some very experienced Toastmasters today, and I didn't count a lot of filler words. I did count one from Bob, one from Marcy, 3 from Lisa, and Helen, I counted a little over 5. And then for the word of the day, I know Marcy used it, I used it, and there were a few other people. So congratulations on that, and I'm sorry that I missed it.
Thank you very much. This has been an unrelenting agenda to follow. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our chairperson, Stephen.
Thank you, Lisa. I realized that I overrun the time, but the rest of our Toastmasters made the unrelenting efforts to save that. With that, looking at the agenda, we have Shelley as a watcher, and timer from Barbara.
I'm the watcher.
Okay. Shelley, if you can summarize in a little bit.
Well, it's just there's great comments, members encouraging each other, the speakers and other table topic speakers, nothing in particular to share.
Okay, thank you for that. And now I would like to invite Management Lab to have provide us some comments.
Hi there. My apologies for not having my camera on. I'm actually sitting in my cubicle, and I also don't have my headset that is in my home office, not in my cubicle. But anyway, I'd like to start out with just thanking everyone for having me today. And I want to do a special call out to the 2 members who gave their speeches. Tanis, that was a very great icebreaker speech. I mean, what a unique way to introduce yourself to us and help us learn a little bit about you. Good for you for remaking your bed as a 4-year-old, because I would have never looked that gift horse in the mouth, I can tell you that much. And to Masood, I mean, I think, well, Tanis told us what she knows about herself. You introduced us to a new way that might help us also get to know ourselves, which is extremely important, and that there are multiple avenues to get us there, and that everyone actually might have a different motivation or a reason to get there. Lastly, I think that a lot of us join Toastmasters because we do have an unrelenting fear of public speaking. But everybody here has chosen to do that and has chosen to try and conquer that fear. So I appreciate everybody taking the time to participate, and thank you again for having me.
Thank you, Patty, for that thorough comments and observation. Thanks again. And I would like to invite some of our guests to provide some comments. Gilberto?
Yeah, Well, again, this meeting has been really good, pretty organized. It's the first time that I joined. I think it was last week. Pretty glad to be here and then continue with you guys.
Thank you, Gilberto. And how about Jesse?
Thank you, everybody. I'm every time I'm a guest at one of these events, I'm always so astounded by how well organized these are and the format that they're presented in. It seems like it's such a great club and it's very helpful, and I hope you'll have me again.
Thank you, Jesse. And Catherine, if you can share some of the comments.
Hi there. Yeah, I really enjoyed the meeting. The one thing that really jumps out at me is the positivity and the feedback and the encouragement. What else have I written here? Tanis's speech I felt was so uplifting, and I think we all need a little uplifting these days. So it's such a positive experience. I really, really enjoyed today's meeting. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. And how about Renee?
Hi, everyone. I don't know if there's much to say that hasn't been said. This was extremely well organized. Everybody, for the most part, kept on time. The table topics, extremely interesting approach. I hadn't seen that before. And absolutely everybody was very positive. I enjoyed seeing all your faces. That was very beneficial. And thank you for letting me attend.
Thank you, Renee. And with that time, 1:01 now, and there's some announcements. Ben just told me before the meeting, just reinforce that or remind who the fellow Toastmaster, if you have not paid your due yet, and the due date is end of month. So if you could do that earlier, that'd be great, appreciated. Okay, I saw Masood has and both Masood and Marcy has some announcements made.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Tomorrow is 23rd. I think Lisa will talk about it. I will leave that to Lisa, but October 20th is our contest, and Helen has taken the initiative to be the chair. Please let's support her in terms of attending as contestant and any other roles that we can fill in to support her to take this contest very smoothly and very in a high quality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Masood. And Marcy?
No, Lisa.
Oh, Lisa.
This is a reminder that our Tall Tales workshop is happening tomorrow. Tall Tales is a style that really exaggerates things, makes things unbelievable. It's going to be a fun meeting where we learn this style. We have a guest speaker coming in from the MVP Advanced Club to do some how-tos to kind of walk us through that and then give us an example. And then we have one of our own, Matt Fox, is going to then evaluate her Tall Tale so that we can learn, how do you evaluate this kind of speech? And then Christina Cruz is going to be setting up table topics, and we've extended it. So we should have time for hopefully 5 or 6 people to practice your version of a tall tale and then receive some evaluation on that as well. So it's going to be fun, and it's tomorrow. So if you haven't already, RSVP on Easy Speak, and there's still a few roles that you can take on as well to help support running the meeting.
Thank you, Lisa. With that, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone, and have a good rest of the day.
Good job, Stephen.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thanks very much. It was great.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Well done, team. Well done. Well done. Well done. Bye.
Bye, Marcy.